hope you're enjoying your Monday.
Live from KSAT 12, the 6 o'clock news starts right now.
And we begin tonight's broadcast with breaking news. In the last half hour, the Uvalde School District released records related to the Robb Elementary massacre. You remember that 19 children, 2 teachers were killed on May 24th of 2022. And for the last 3 years, this has been an ongoing battle. KSAT 12 and other news agencies, we've really worked to get public records about the police response specifically. So our station joined several lawsuits to get those records. And today we're happy to tell you that we have more of them. Our Daniela Ibarra and our KSAT's Investigates team have really been working very diligently in the last half hour to pour through some of those records. And we understand that the documents that the Uvalde CISD district released, it's just documents, no video, no audio. So what's the extent? What are we learning?
There are hundreds of pages worth of documents. We have a team of about 5 people working in the newsroom to read through several of these documents. We have emails, a couple notable people. We have Pete Arredondo. You might remember he's the former police chief for the school district, and he's one of 2 officers who are charged in connection to the Robb Elementary massacre. We also have emails from Hal Harrell, who was the then superintendent at the time of the shooting, as well as an officer who was also there on May 24th, 2022. And like I said, these are hundreds of pages worth of records. I was only able to go through about 12. I was looking at Pete Arredondo those emails, and a lot of them have been media requests so far, and then discussion about increasing security in the days after. But I've only gotten 11 pages in. Okay, and the time frame of these records, I would assume that they're from the day of the shooting until... I don't want to tell you a date yet because I haven't gotten to go through the records.
We're still finding out. Okay,
yeah, some of them, like just the emails from Pete Arredondo, the most recent one that I saw was from June of 2022. But like I said, I have only made it through 11 pages of that one document. We have hundreds of pages of documents to go through.
Yeah, it's going to take us a while to do that and really go through it with a fine-tooth comb. A lot of people are wondering, you know, this has been more than 3 years. Why are we still fighting for this? What are we hoping to gain from these records?
Really, this is about transparency. Several lawmakers and family members of the 19 children and 2 teachers killed that day on May 24th, they have been wanting answers from that day. I know we were at a school board meeting just in the last month. Several of the family members of the victims, they were talking to the school board. They said that they wanted the answers out there, because, or the truth out there, because as painful as it is for them, they say that the truth can help prevent another family from going through the same heartbreak that they've been going through. And of course, this is just some of the families.
Right, right. And now just a final question here. What are some of the records that we're still waiting to see from that day?
So we're expecting Uvalde County to release their records this week. I was talking with their attorney today, and he said that they were working on that request. There's also a separate lawsuit that we are waiting to get results from, and that is a lawsuit, of course, that KSAT 12 and several other news outlets have filed against the Texas Department of Public Safety. That is still tied up in the court system, so we're not sure when we'll get to see those records. And of course, the city of Uvalde released their records a year ago this month, actually, a portion of them. Of course, they didn't release all the records at the time. We got more of those in October, but we're finally seeing some more records from the school district. And in addition to the emails, we also have some more information that we're learning about the shooter. And of course, we're still going through all these records. Like I said, a team of us are going through it. It's extensive, and we're going to continue to follow up on the story.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Daniela. And it's also important that we just take a moment here to honor the 21 lives that we lost on that day. That was from the Robb Elementary School massacre. All 21 beautiful people, 19 students, 2 teachers who will forever live in our hearts. Now, in a quick-moving meeting in the Hill Country today, the Ingram City Council approved a new flood warning system for that area. Council members went back and they went forth over whether this is really the best system to install right now. And that's because the first phase of that installation is not going to include flood sensors, but it will include notifications using information from the National Weather Service. So council members approved more than $160,000 to install 3 emergency sirens throughout the city of Ingram. The company that they're working with told us that it's also trying to install sirens in surrounding areas like Kerrville and also throughout Kerr County.
The simplicity of an outdoor warning siren is just the fact that it's a loud noise and it's abnormal. We're used to normal. Anytime there's something abnormal, it makes you perk up, look up, maybe go outside, maybe turn on the news. It's just going to be a reason to, hey, let's go get more information. And that's what you're missing if you don't have an outdoor warning siren system.
So we're going to learn more about that emergency warning system and also what the Ingram city mayor has to say about it tonight on the Night Beat, because there are a lot of moving parts here. So instead of raising property taxes, leaders in Kerr County could dip into their savings. So we've been reporting that since the deadly July 4th flood, the county faces a multi-million-dollar budget gap. Garrett Berger tells us why the Kerr County judge says that they may just be able to hold it this year.
It's a rare bit of good news following the deadly floods. Kerr County Judge Rob Kelly's proposed budget would keep the county tax rate flat.
Well, I'm definitely not against that.
Kelly says Kerr County is in decent condition to cope with the disaster. This year, they can dip into various fund balances to the tune of about $11 million, staving off the need for a tax hike.
$11 million translates into right at 17 cents, I think, on the tax rate.
It's a move that may only work this year, though. As Kelly says, some revenue sources won't be available next year, and the fund balance won't be big enough.
I feel fairly comfortable we can get from here to there. I don't know about from there anywhere else.
Kelly refused to talk with KSAT about the details of the budget proposal. But he said in the meeting the flood is a big part of the money problems, mentioning $5.5 million in disaster damage. Though there also appears to be more than $4 million from FEMA built into the budget. The federal agency helping to pay for projects like the repairs to Cade Loop Bridge.
It's an undertaking, but it's a lot better pill to swallow than what we first thought. When we were thinking it was going to be like $6 million.
But when the waters rose, they destroyed a lot of private properties whose owners are applying for exemptions.
And it's going to reduce the market value that they're going to have to pay taxes on because of those exemptions. And we've got uncollectible property taxes of approximately $2 million in this budget.
But at least one commissioner thinks the county could cut the tax rate further, arguing they typically spend less than what's budgeted. Kerr County commissioners will discuss the budget more on Wednesday before voting in 2 weeks. Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
So now we're going to give you a live look at the roads out there. Happy to tell you right now, no major accidents right now to speak of. Right now, that's I-10 at the Y, where you can see traffic is flowing very smoothly at this hour. Now to a developing story. One person is dead after an apparent drive-by shooting on the west side of town. Happened just hours ago at the intersection of Coronado Avenue and Ceralvo Street. That's near South General McMullen and Highway 90. San Antonio police are telling us that someone found a person dead with several gunshot wounds. At this point, we don't know what led up to that shooting, and police haven't arrested anyone yet. Staying on the west side, a violent scene playing out at an apartment. So now one person is dead. 2 other people got hurt. Happened last night at a complex on Altitude Street near Loop 410 and Highway 90. That's where San Antonio police say that a 40-year-old man shot 3 people in the head and then took off in a truck with 3 kids inside. Those 3 kids in that truck, they weren't hurt. One of the 3 people who was shot in the head, we're told, died at the hospital. And 2 of the victims remain tonight in critical condition. San Antonio police say that the man who died was the suspect's son. And that suspect was later caught and arrested. This is video from him earlier today of him being booked into jail. We also want to take this opportunity to remind you that if you or someone you know, a loved one, is dealing with a domestic violence situation, please get help. Don't suffer in silence. You can scan that QR code on your screen. That'll direct you to a list of free available resources in our area. While families are getting ready to get their kids back to school, one family is starting the week in court. A 13-year-old who was accused in the shooting death of his brother had a hearing this afternoon where his family begged for him to be released. Erica Hernandez tells us what the judge decided.
This is a real accident, and it's an accident that obviously is very, very serious.
Defense attorney Neil Kalfa is advocating on behalf of his 13-year-old client and his family. The teen facing a manslaughter charge for the shooting death of his brother, Daniel Casares, on July 25th. Police said the 13-year-old is accused of handling the gun when it accidentally went off.
This young man is in school, has been in school, has never before been arrested. He doesn't have any disciplinary problems at school.
The teen's father also speaking about his son not being able to attend his brother's funeral.
I wanted my son to see his brother before he was buried. I tried calling everybody and I didn't get a response from nobody. I just got told that it would get passed along.
Judge William Cruz Shaw apologizing for the teen missing the funeral.
You deserve to be there. If I would have known, I would have made special arrangements for you to see your brother. I just want to make sure you know that.
In the meantime, Judge Shaw gave strict instructions if the teen wants to be released into his grandmother's custody by the next hearing in 2 weeks. The requirements: first, the grandmother's home must be searched and have no guns or ammunition. Second, the teen must begin counseling immediately. And third, he has to stay out of trouble in juvenile detention. Judge Shaw also asking for arrangements to be made for the teen to visit his brother's burial site.
Now, one question that is being asked is if the parents involved in this case will be facing any charges. We did ask SAPD, and they told us that right now that this is still an open and active investigation, but that's all they could say at this moment. At Juvenile Court, Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
I can't think of two better reasons to take a strategic pause on this until we have all of the data and can really lay out for our community the costs, the benefits of not only the potential new Spurs arena, but this overall endeavor.
San Antonio Mayor Gina Ortiz-Jones doubling down on her push for an additional review on Project Marvel. And that was the focus of a press conference that the mayor called today. Last week, the mayor also called for a pause on the project, but the majority of council members, they supported moving ahead on negotiations with the Spurs on a new downtown arena. Late this afternoon, the city manager also informed the mayor and council that he's going to continue talks with the Spurs while also looking into another economic study. Now, those talks will help determine things like estimates for the overall cost of the arena, also how much the city would contribute. The mayor has been pushing for specifics on those details before continuing forward. So still ahead on the news at 6, this is a potentially life-saving resource, and it became just a little easier for people to get a hold of. We'll explain right after the break. Welcome back. This is really the first of its kind here in San Antonio, a free Narcan dispenser. That's a medication, as you know, that helps reverse opioid poisoning or overdose. It's also saved countless lives, but it hasn't always been easy to find. Courtney Friedman spoke with a mom who lost her son to fentanyl poisoning and has also made safety like this her mission.
He loved life itself. Very outgoing person, very passionate about playing guitars. He loved family.
Jai Roderick was just 23 years old when he lost his life to fentanyl poisoning 2 years ago.
He did make the decision to take a Xanax, in which it wasn't Xanax, it was fentanyl.
Jai's mom, Crystal Plaisance, soon joined a group of moms called the Angel Moms, who had lost their children in the same way. Their nonprofit, called Souls Walking for Souls, educates families about fentanyl.
It's everywhere, it's in everything, and nobody talks about it because it's like just a stigma, like not my kid. My kid would never do that, but it's anybody's kid.
That's why they also educate about Narcan, the medication that reverses an overdose or poisoning. The moms just installed San Antonio's first ever free Narcan dispenser at the San Antonio Recovery Center on San Pedro.
Each of the dispensers comes with directions at the bottom, the signs of fentanyl poisoning, directions for using Narcan, and then of course, the dispenser itself holds up to 100 boxes of Narcan you can take and use for free and then take off.
We chose this background because he loved nature.
More dispensers will soon be placed around town, each featuring a different Angel Mom's loved one. This one has only been here a month, and Crystal has already refilled it.
Just a month ago and it already ran out?
Yes.
Wow. Well, that tells you it's working.
Yes. So I do believe that it is saving lives, and we just got to keep on educating and spreading the word.
Creating true change in Jai's honor. Courtney Friedman, KSAT 12 News.
So any families in Texas who have lost loved ones to fentanyl poisoning can contact Souls Walking for Souls to have a Narcan dispenser dedicated to their child. And you can also help fund that project by donating to the organization through its website and also going to the annual walk. The next walk, is supposed to be October 12th. Quite a long ways to go until then. For now, we'll be dealing with, if not triple-digit temperatures, close to it. And, you know, we're keeping our fingers crossed, obviously, for rain. But you were saying that in the afternoons?
Yeah, afternoons. Basically, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. is our primary window of opportunity. And we even had a few new showers that just popped up on a 30 radar. Farther north of San Antonio and even east of town. You see this action near Kyle down to Lockhart. This is just south of Austin, but just goes to show that we can still get development this time of day all the way through about 8, 9 p.m. And then far east outside of Cuero and Hallettsville, just a few little light brief showers. And we head farther west, and that's where we have some more appreciable rain that could actually add up to about an inch or more in parts of northern Valverde County. You look at this action here north of Del Rio. I can give you the mileage here, exactly how far north. And this is very rural Valverde County. I mean, we're talking about 46 miles north of Del Rio and not really headed toward Del Rio. I'll show you over the past couple of hours the radar. And you see how these showers and thunderstorms drift to the south, but they last about an hour. Not a whole lot of longevity to these. But again, that could be enough for a quick inch underneath some of those downpours. So over the next couple of hours, we'll watch the radar for just a quick pop-up splash and dash, even locally. Don't cancel your baseball practice or outdoor plans or anything like that. And then a quiet night. Come sunset, we lose the energy from the sun, and then we don't get these pop-up showers. We just regenerate it again tomorrow afternoon and every afternoon the rest of this week. And as I always say, don't pay close attention to the exact placement of these showers. It has it from Stockdale, Sutherland Springs to Poteet. These could be anywhere across our area. Anywhere on this map could have these showers tomorrow. It's just, I think this is a good representation of the coverage. Not everybody's going to get it, and actually most of us probably won't. Big up, or not big, an upper level low is overhead, and that's going to linger for several days and really keeps the door open to use some of the instability in the air to generate just that daily afternoon chance of a few pop-up downpours. Again, most of us not getting them, but some of the luckiest neighborhoods a half inch to a quick inch, and that's every day all the way through Saturday. Really quickly, we have Tropical Storm Erin way out in the Atlantic. This is a lot closer to Africa than it is anywhere else. This is likely to turn into a hurricane as we go through this week by Wednesday, Thursday time frame at Cat 1, and then ending up somewhere between Bermuda and the Caribbean by this weekend. After that, it's unlikely to make it to the Gulf, and I'll show you why coming up at 6:45, show you the steering flow. But even exactly where it would go, somewhere between roughly Bermuda and the east coast of the U.S., very uncertain, just something worth watching. 99, our high temperature, like Stephanie was saying, not necessarily 100, but close to. What's a degree amongst friends, I always say. It's just that psychological benchmark of triple digits. The record 106 today, that gives you the potential, an idea of how hot it can get this time of year. 97 right now, dew point is 62, so it feels like a couple of degrees warmer than the air temperature. And you saw those patchy clouds on the live cam. Those can develop taller over the next few hours, and a few of them could drop some rain. Tomorrow, or I should say right now, 98 Hondo, 94 Kerrville, 100 Pleasanton. Tomorrow the map is going to look very similar. Pretty consistent temperatures this time of year, and that's normal to have. 97 at the airport. By 10 o'clock, we're down to 86. 77 at Sunrise. So at the bus stop tomorrow, weird to say at the bus stop tomorrow. I know many schools back in session, including my kids, but in the upper 70s and humid. 97 in the afternoon tomorrow. We'll trim off a couple of degrees because of a little extra cloud cover. But Del Rio 101, Cotulla, Freer 101, Kerrville 94, and Rock Springs 92 tomorrow. Again, rinse and repeat daily. I tell you what, I know these aren't significant rain chances, but things have gotten crunchy outside very quickly. The grass has gotten crunchy and brown, and we could use any little downpour we could get. I'll show you the steering flow for Erin and what should protect the Gulf coming up at 6:45.
It's true, and it didn't take long for it to get crunchy. No. Yeah. All right. So it's nice watching the Spurs getting in on all the back-to-school action and the excitement.
Yes, Spurs Sports and Entertainment held their back-to-school bash at the Frostbank Center yesterday. It was awesome. There was a lot of parents and a lot of kids there, as was a couple of Spurs passing out free school supplies. And staying with the Spurs, Manu Ginobili. He threw out the first pitch at the Missions game. We got it coming up.
Hi, how you doing? Here's a notebook for you. Oh yeah, we're here, high five too. There we go. We got a notebook for you in a bag.
Luke Cornett and Carter Bryant handed out one assist after another in big board sports. Spurs Sports and Entertainment hosted its 4th annual back-to-school bash at Frostbank Center yesterday from 12 to 3 p.m. Parents, students, and teachers in grades K through 12 are invited to attend the event for free school supplies and resources while supplies lasted. In the 4 years since it launched, the SSNE back-to-school bash has drawn over 11,500 attendees. Within the past 2 years alone, the event has provided over 1,300 health screenings, 800 dental screenings and cleanings, and 12,000 school supplies.
Yeah, no, it's great. I think especially as my wife and I have had our own children and stuff, and realizing just being able to help a family and help parents who are just trying to do the best by their children, and to be able to provide for them in some way and give back to the community. I feel like it's something that I've grown an appreciation for over the years, and we're happy to just help out the city of San Antonio and all the people in it. And this is kind of ultimately what we're about with the Spurs, is just being able to give the city something to be proud of.
And in case you missed it Saturday night, Spurs Hall of Famer Manu Ginobili threw out the ceremonial first pitch at the Missions game. Manu, who is a part owner of the team, was there taking part in a fundraising night dedicated to flood relief efforts in the Hill Country. The jerseys of Comfort, Centerpoint, Ingram, Tom Moore, and Kerrville-Tivy high schools all took center stage at the Wolf. Honoring the communities impacted by the floods in the Hill Country, the game-worn uniforms were auctioned off, with proceeds being split amongst the Kerr County Flood Relief Fund and towards rebuilding Ingram Little League. Manu spoke with the media and says he was more than happy to help out.
It's amazing. It makes you so proud. Sometimes, you are upset at people for some things you see in papers or attitudes and the division in our community many times when things, are okay. But when tragedy strikes, it makes you feel proud, right? That the community can step up. My two most important communities, both Bahia Blanca in Argentina and San Antonio here, got hit by big floods in the last year. And it's hard. It's hard. Sometimes you see your people suffering, you see the struggle, the devastation, but then you see how their resilience and how their brothers step up and are ready to help. And he said it makes you feel like proud of being part of those two communities. So it was great to see. I mean, you always hate to see something like that happen, but also you say, you end up optimistic that you're in the right place, right? Being part of the Spurs and the Missions, will probably be there soon. I know the Spurs are thinking about something. The Missions are doing this today. I think it's an important part of what we do. The Guadalupe River, all the areas that were hit, are San Antonio, are people that we care about, that we live with, places that we go to all the time, and they need support, and we are going to provide it.
Manu is a Hall of Famer from his basketball days, and to me, he's a Hall of Famer off the court as well.
Classy guy.
Yep.
I love him. Also, I'm sure he's relieved that he threw out that first pitch and it wasn't a disaster.
Yeah, I know he was worried about it.
Yes, he talked about it. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
And we'll be right back after this. At the bottom of the hour, we join you with breaking news about the Uvalde school shooting from 2022. Former Uvalde CISD police officer Adrian Gonzalez has asked the judge to move his trial out of Uvalde County. His attorneys are arguing that his case has received massive media coverage and also public statements that have made it hard to Gonzalez to get a fair trial locally. Their motion included 2 affidavits from local residents who say that the community is still very affected by the tragedy and that it would be unfair to try Gonzalez there. Gonzalez has pleaded not guilty to 29 counts of child endangerment and abandonment from the Robb Elementary School shooting. He was a school officer at Robb when that shooting happened on May 22nd of 2022. As we all know, 19 children, 2 teachers were killed in that massacre. The defense wants the trial to be moved to a place where Gonzalez can have a fair trial with a jury that's not prejudiced against him. And like we mentioned at the top of the show, we also just received hundreds of pages of documents from the Uvalde CISD about that shooting. Our team is still pouring through those documents, and we'll have more information online and on the Night Beat. But for now, we're going to continue with our KSAT Q&A. You know, between tariffs, interest rates, and all the talk over Project Marvel, we had to invite our friend Ed Arnold. He's editor of the San Antonio Business Journal for our KSAT Q&A. Ed, thank you for joining us.
It's always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me.
So, my friend, I have to start with Project Marvel because there is a difference, of course, between how the city and county leaders are dealing with all this. We know county leaders are leaving it up to the voters to decide whether to raise the hotel portion of the county's venue tax to fund the new Spurs arena. And then at the city level, the mayor has called for a, quote, strategic pause to decide how to finance a portion of that project. Are we at a make or break point for that project?
Well, if the rubber is not hitting the road, it's awful close to it. So, yeah, the county, as you said, I wouldn't say they've passed that down to the voters, but they're going to wait to see what the voters are going to do. And if that approves, then the county will go along with it. The city has a different road to hoe here, particularly when it comes to just building consensus. As we saw last week, the mayor wanted to take a pause and the council revolted against that and wouldn't allow such a pause. Now there's another move for another economic impact study, which might show some different numbers than the previous one, but I'm not sure that that's going to really sway anyone one way or another at this point.
Yeah, can we talk about that survey? Because this is all about CSL International. That's the firm that was hired by the city. They were commissioned by the city to do an economic assessment, basically, of how Project Marvel, what kind of an impact that would have on the overall city. So they came out with numbers, and they said that the project could add $18 billion in revenue over 30 years. That would come from tourism. That would come from spending. The issue is that $18 billion number, not everyone's buying that.
Oh, no question about it. Every economic impact study that I've ever read has a wild variation about what could be and what might be and what they rosily pick one way or another. I don't blame people for looking at these askance or taking one really hard look at them. The problem is that this entire impact study concept is very hard to map out. There's almost no way to be sure if this will work in the long run. To the $18 billion, to put a specific number to it, I don't have a lot of faith in that specific number myself. But at the same token, I wouldn't also be surprised if that number was larger down the road. I just don't think that these kind of studies truly get at the economic impact. I think they're a useful tool when you're trying to get an idea together, but I understand anyone taking a jaundiced look at that. That's very common to have a pretty wide variation of what people think an economic impact study could be.
And where do you assess the public attitude is right now?
Right. I think there is understandable hesitancy from a lot of local people who want to understand where their tax dollars are going. They have a right to know so. The people in the business community are almost universally for this. I'm not going to suggest that there aren't some business people who are not, but when it comes to the chamber leaders, the business leaders, they want to see us go in a big production. They want to see a big development downtown that they believe will help spur more development and help them get a sort of limp downtown back running again. That's what they're hoping for.
Switching gears to something else, the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas today put out a report, and it described the softening of the Texas economy, and it used job data to reach that conclusion.
Right.
First of all, what's your reaction to that, and what are some things that we should be looking out for in the future?
For sure. This the Texas Business Outlook survey is something that the Fed does on a regular basis, and it's an indicator that I really like taking a close look at. The Fed is actually calling businesses and surveying them on the phone with this. They have a network of businesses they've always checked in with, and it has been throughout my career a really accurate view of what the economy is doing at the time. And what this report basically shows is that every sector of the Texas economy since March has gotten slower, has gotten softer, has not by any means stopped growing, but the arc of growth is definitely declining, according to all of these businesses and all these interviews. Construction's down across every single sector and every type of construction available. Hiring is down. It's still at a positive rate, but it's off. And it goes in line with a lot of what I've been hearing since March, essentially, which is I'm holding on. If I'm a business owner, I'm holding on. I'm holding on from investing in new equipment. I'm holding on from investing in new employees. I'm holding on with hiring new people. If you've got a job opening that happened to pop up in March, it might still be unfilled by August. I think that is what I've been hearing consistently is let's see what's going to happen before I make any big moves. And that leads to a very soft, less aggressive economy, which is what this report is starting to show the beginning of.
Okay, I want us to pin this conversation right here because the next question I want to ask you about is tariffs, right? Last Thursday, President Trump's his new round of tariffs went into effect with 90 countries. When could we see an impact on everyday goods right here? Because that can also dovetail into the whole economy conversation here in Texas.
No question. The problem will be predicting them, quite honestly, and how they show up. Just today, we've got a brand new 90-day delay for the tariffs on China. Obviously, China being our second largest import partner has a huge impact on our economy if that goes into effect. But we've kicked that can down the road another 3 months yet again. That's kind of what I'm talking about. You may not yet see the damage to your pocketbook. You may not necessarily see the soaring cost of inflation, but all of this inaction, all of this uncertainty is leading to inaction. And businesses that aren't growing are shrinking and dying. And when you're not spending money to grow, you're not going to follow up and continue to hire and grow your revenue, et cetera, et cetera. So you may not necessarily see prices soar in the next 2 weeks. It's very hard to predict it with things being so unstable. But what I can tell you is that businesses are not ready to invest. And anytime businesses are pulling back from investment, consumers will eventually start to feel it.
Now, you don't want to see hesitation from business owners. So now we have to pivot on over to the auto industry because this is all tied together, right? There's a 25% tariff on imported vehicles, auto parts. Have you heard anything from the Toyota plant right here in San Antonio? Because that affects us directly.
Absolutely. I will tell you that Toyota has been one of the companies that has decided at the top level to take a hit, but they have already, I believe, just a few months ago said that they've lost $3 billion or so just on paying off tariffs and trying to figure out in lost sales and damage so far this year. They've not passed it on to customers. They've not necessarily decided to slow down any production yet. But it's coming if we can't get consumers back off of the sidelines, which is part of what's slowing the economy. Consumers are also holding their powder. They're not necessarily buying things if they don't need them. So that's going to catch us. Hopefully it will bounce out. Maybe all of this will come to a term. We'll get brand new, beautiful deals in the fall. But it can't continue this way forever without the consumer starting to feel it and without the lines at Toyota feeling it.
Okay, this is our last question here because the other side to all of this are the interest rates. I feel like that's also lost in this conversation, that if you have weak economic data when it comes to inflation and all of this stuff, on the other hand, you know, the Federal Reserve may lower interest rates just to boost spending a little bit.
That's right.
So
That's
it's
right.
kind of,
Oh,
it's a mixed bag.
It's an interesting dichotomy that we're in. The worse and more soft the economy gets, the more likely it will be for the Fed to cut interest rates to spur spending, to spur that investment that we're hoping to see. What's odd about that is our current administration doesn't like seeing those numbers low, so it wants to fight against the very mechanism that would cause the Federal Reserve to want to lower rates. So we're in a very weird juxtaposition there. I think it's going to be that toward the end of this year, you will see some rate cuts. And maybe the softening that we see in the second half of the year will encourage them to get those rates back down where people feel more comfortable doing that investment we hope to see.
Well, my friend, we'll just have to wait and see. Ed Arnold, thank you so much for joining us and giving us your insight. We appreciate you. And we will be right back. Welcome back. I hope that you had a wonderful Monday because our kiddos, a number of them, are slowly making their way back to school. And we want to see how you and your family are gearing up for the new school year. Look at those adorable pictures. She's got pigtails. We would love for you to share your back to school pictures with us on KSAT.com and also through KSAT Connect. Just keep those pictures coming. Also, good luck to all of the kiddos as they start a new school year. Now, we're going to take a live look outside where you're going to see beautiful blue skies. Look at that. Are those the Toy Story clouds that we always talk about? All right.
Yep.
97 degrees out there. It'll be a while before we tell our kiddos to pack the sweaters.
It'll be a while. And you look at that live cam, and the grass has gotten so crunchy over the past several weeks because of the warm and just dry, sunny conditions. High temperature today, 99 here in San Antonio. Del Rio topped out at 100. Across the state, generally into the 90s. And around here, I think for the most part, we'll be at to just slightly above average. The average high is 97. We'll be there tomorrow at 98, 99, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, even Saturday. By Sunday and Monday, the upper level high should get us to at least 100 for the high temperature. An update on Tropical Storm Erin and what's steering it and where. Coming right up. On the lookout for shower activity every afternoon this week and even on into Saturday as well. Limited coverage, and today really we haven't seen much pop up. The latest is just near Lockhart. This is east of San Marcos and a little bit here in Blanco County. Nothing significant, but a few of these brief pop-up splash and dash showers are possible every afternoon, especially between 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. Most of it today farther to the west, especially northern Valverde County and southern Edwards County. Switching radar sites here, I want to give you an idea of higher resolution data. Hold on. Come on, radar site. Come on, buddy. There you are. That's a good radar. Okay, so here you have it. And this is about 50 miles north of Del Rio in northern Valverde County, a very rural part of Valverde County, of course. And we did recently also have some showers in Edwards County, just south of Rock Springs. You see this activity doesn't last for very long. This is a lapse over the past couple of hours, and these are pretty short-lived. They have a hard time really sustaining themselves. But some of the luckiest neighborhoods could get a quick ½ to an inch from these showers. Still the potential over the next couple of hours of a quick pop-up or two, but for the most part, I think we're going to be dry. Then tomorrow, quiet day to start. Come 2 p.m. to 8 p.m., we have that window of opportunity for a few brief downpours. Don't pay close attention to the exact location shown here on the Futurecast, just the coverage and the nature of it, how it's not going to be affecting everybody, and really these little downpours could be popping up anywhere on the map. Again, it's the overall coverage we're looking at, about 20 to 30% of South Central Texas in that 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. time frame. Heat highs not overhead. It's over Southern California. Instead, we've got a weak upper level low helping us out a little bit, generate a little bit of lift, giving us those daily 20 to 30% chances each afternoon all the way through Saturday. All right, Tropical Storm Erin. This is just off the coast of Africa. It's way out there in the Atlantic, and it's going to be steered westward by these upper level highs to the north of it, because remember, they have clockwise circulation. So that's going to basically put Erin on almost a due west track. And then by this upcoming weekend, be somewhere between Bermuda and the Caribbean, likely as a Category 3 major hurricane. Thereafter, it's very uncertain, but I do think that this upper level high right over the northern Gulf is going to protect us from any hurricane or tropical storm or tropical cyclone. So I don't anticipate this to have any impact on the Gulf in the days ahead. Most likely scenario would be somewhere between the east coast of the U.S. and roughly Bermuda. I think that's the most likely scenario to play out. Now, here's something. Look at the sea surface temperatures and notice how they warm up from 79 degrees all the way to 82, 83, 84. Every degree above 78 is critical when it comes to tropical cyclone development. So as it moves into the warmer waters, you see how it goes from a Cat 1 to a Cat 2 to a Cat 3, and then water temperatures 85 degrees as you get farther to the west and closer to the U.S. So those really warm waters are going to be fuel for that storm, and it's likely to become a major hurricane. It's slow to develop, though, because of that critical threshold, 78, 79 degrees early on in its lifespan. 99, high temperature today, so 11 triple-digit days so far this year. 97 right now. By 10 o'clock, we're 86. Tomorrow, making it back to 97 with that 20 to 30% chance of showers, and back to 100 Sunday and Monday. We're going to be right back.
And welcome back, everybody. KSAT Sports Now is coming your way at the top of the hour at 7 o'clock. We're going to hear from Dallas Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer, who on Saturday led an NFL team as a head coach for a very first time. And he said he got very emotional before that game because it's something that he's been dreaming of for a very long time. We're also going to check in with the Houston Texans and their head coach, DeMeco Ryans. He's going to give us an update on safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who suffered a bad knee injury last week at practice in West Virginia, but it's not as bad as they thought, and he could be ready for week 1 of the NFL. That is great news. DeMeco is also talking about the fact that he's not going to use preseason games as the only basis of judging players that he's either going to keep on the team or that he is going to cut. And Cam Ward from Incarnate Word University, the University of the Incarnate Word, he just played in his first professional game on Saturday, and he will tell us how he thought that he did coming up at 7 o'clock on KSAT Sports Now. We'll be right back.
Back to school season is here, and as you walk through the halls of the classroom, coming up on GMSA, we're going to give you the best tips for getting out the door quick and making sure the kids have a successful time learning.
We are all about the back to school season here at KSAT. Now let's give you a live look outside. That's I-10 at the Y, my friends, where right now really no traffic issues to speak of. Adam.
So tomorrow, back into the upper 90s, in the hill country, even some mid 90s. Comfort 95, Kerrville 94, Tarpley 96. And going forward, mostly upper 90s, you know, close to 100, but not quite there until Sunday with daily pop-up afternoon showers.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you right back here on the Night Beat. Have a nice dinner.